What is up, guys? John the Retro Bro back again with another video, and 2018 is coming to an end, which means 2019 is right around the corner, and we're going to discuss the best emulation devices that you can use in 2019. Let's check it out. All right, guys, so we're going to talk about I'm going to go ahead and list five of the top devices you can use for emulation in 2019. And as you guys know, emulation is kind of my thing on this channel. You know, do you even retro, bro? Do you even emulation? It's just what we talk about. It's what we like. It's, you know, a good thing to have if you're gaming on a budget. You don't have tons of space to collect video games and cartridges. You only maybe have a modern television. So we talk about emulation on this channel, and like I said, guys, we're talking about the top 5 devices of 2019. And I gotta say, I'll put the first 2 together. Now, we're not going to talk about PC because we do know if you have a high-powered PC, obviously that's going to be the best way to go. You know, that's pretty much got you covered from Atari all the way up to modern consoles, depending on your PC. So we're not going to talk about PCs. We're going to talk about actual devices you could plug into your TV and play like a console. And the first one I would say is going to be the NES and SNES Classic, or NES and SNES Classic. And get them while you can, because they are going to be discontinued. And I will say that this is a good entry as far as price goes, and not only that, it's already going to have some games on there, and it's very easy to hack. And once you hack it, you're looking at hundreds, thousands of games from 8 and 16-bit era. Like I said, price is definitely a plus. You know, the NES Classic, $59.99, and then the SNES Classic is, I believe, $69.99 or $79.99. Both very good prices. Emulation is very good, and if you don't want to hack them, you know, you could just plug them in and play them right out of the box, preloaded with games. So guys, first on the list, like I said, NES and SNES Classic. Now the second, I will say, I'm big into this on my channel, but it's definitely not the best, and that is the Raspberry Pi 3 or Raspberry Pi 3B+. And the reason why I say that is because you're covered from pretty much PS1 and below. 8 and 16-bit, most arcade stuff's going to play great. And again, guys, the price entry for the Raspberry Pi 3, you're looking at about $50 for a solid kit, a good controller and an SD card. You're still under that $80 range depending on what type of controller you want. And even SD cards are so cheap right now, guys. It's still definitely, as far as price goes, the best way to go. And as far as emulation goes, I mean, still one of the best consoles. Retropie, the front end that's used, is very well developed for. I mean, you have places like Arcade Punks, which you can download, you know, hundreds of preloaded images on there, guys. Check out the RetroBro gaming images on there as well, guys, on arcadepunks.com. You'll even see some of my images preloaded and ready to go. But definitely the Raspberry Pi 3, guys, as far as emulation goes, some of the best emulation. You know, it's going to play better than your NES or SNES Classic goes. So, and the entry for your price is really low. Now, the next one I will say is something I don't have too much experience, and that is going to be the Odroid XU4, the Odroid board. Now, price entry is a little bit higher. You're probably looking at about $60 for the board. So with controllers and SD cards, you're kind of approaching that $100 mark. But however, you're going to be able to play everything the Pi plays, along with N64 and a lot of Dreamcast games as well. So your span of what you can play is a lot greater. I know it does some arcade stuff on there a little bit better, and it's just an overall better experience. Not quite as developed for something like the RetroPie. You do have RetroPie now on the Odroid, so it is there, but I would still say it's some of the best emulation. Now, guys, like I said, outside of any PC, that brings me to my next device, and this is actually a device I covered on the channel a few months ago. I finally took the dive and I got myself an Nvidia Shield. Now, price of entry as far as the Nvidia Shield is obviously going to be a lot higher. You're looking at between $140, which is what I got it for without the controller, for a 16GB model, all the way up to $200, you know, depending on your controller and hard drive. There's 2 models of Nvidia Shields. You have the 16 gigabyte onboard, which you could just use an external for, or they have an actual unit with 500 gigabyte storage. Like I said, that's going to run you about $200. A little bit more, but you're probably going to spend that difference in an external drive anyways. Now, as far as emulation goes, guys, you've seen the channel. I mean, you're looking at Dreamcast, full 1080 enhanced resolution, all your N64 stuff and below, obviously. And then, of course, you've got, it plays GameCube for the most part. I get about a 50-50 on GameCube. I would say probably about every other game I try plays fine. So you're getting a good amount of the GameCube library, and all the first-party Nintendo stuff really is going to play fine on the Nvidia Shield. Now, you look at, like I said, Dreamcast. If you're looking for something to emulate Dreamcast, it's definitely up there. And Sega Saturn as well, guys. I've got a video on my channel showing it playing the Sega Saturn with enhanced resolution. Obviously, guys, you know, the Sega Saturn is far from perfect emulation, but I would say the Nvidia Shield plays it fairly well. So as far as emulation goes, you have RetroArch on there as well. You can put that run ahead mode on there to get rid of any sort of input lag you might be experiencing with maybe the Odroid or the Retropie, or I should say Raspberry Pi. And NES and SNES Classics not going to be able to do quite what the Nvidia Shield can do. So there's a lot of different options there for the Nvidia Shield. And like I said, it's really limitless next to a PC. So yeah, next to like something that like a PC that's really going to essentially play anything, I would say the Nvidia Shield is definitely up there for probably top of the line. Like I said, something you just want to plug into a television and play. And if you guys want to see more Nvidia Shield stuff, check out the rest of the channel. I got a couple how-to videos on there, and it also showing off some of the games that I've tested as far as like Sega Saturn and that goes. It's very easy to set up. It's not too difficult, and it's really the Nvidia Shield as opposed to something like the Raspberry Pi. The Nvidia Shield it's Android based, so a lot of the stuff like RetroArch and Mupen64, a lot of your emulators are already going to be on the Android store itself, so it really makes the experience a lot simpler. So anyway, guys, that is the top emulation devices I could think of for moving forward for 2019. It'll be interesting to see what we get over this next year. Maybe, are we going to get a Raspberry Pi 4? Are we going to get a new type of Nvidia Shield? So if I missed anything, guys, or if you know of something that does something extremely well that I didn't mention, go ahead and comment it below and let me know what you guys think. Until then, I'll see you on the next video. RetroBro out.
Do you even RetroBro? Do you even retro?